Hello and welcome to a new Aurora Devs tutorial for Unreal Engine. In this video, we'll show you an example of how to create a new UGC camera modifier. The one we'll create will make the camera switch sides whenever the player presses a button. Make sure you have Ultimate Gameplay Camera installed, of course. First, let's show the limitations of using only camera data assets in order to switch camera sides. You don't have to follow along from this point. We'll create a new camera data asset based on the default one and invert the side of its socket offset. Whenever the player presses a button, we'll push or pop the data asset. Now, whenever we press C, the camera will simply switch sides and blend. But what if you push another data asset on top, by crouching, for example? You'll notice that the side gets reset. This means that we need to create a new data asset for crouching with the camera side flipped and adjust the code to push the correct data asset depending on which side we were using. You can see how this gets tedious very fast. Feel free to follow along if you'd like now. What we'll do is add a Boolean variable for when the camera side gets flipped. We won't be using the camera data asset we've created anymore. Next, we'll create an interface which will have a function that returns that Boolean. In your project, you can cast to the character class, or you can have a component that handles that logic if you want to. We'll make our player character inherit from that interface and override the inherited function. Now is the time to create the new modifier. Make sure you select the blueprint version. Inside the modifier, there's multiple functions we can override, which will all modify different camera properties like arm length, FOV, arm offsets, camera rotation, or position. The one we're interested in modifies the arm offsets. This modifier will multiply the socket offset by 1 or -1, depending on the Boolean we created. One important thing to set for each modifier is the priority. The modifier priorities define which modifiers get executed first. This means that if any modifier of ours comes after the new one, they can override our values and discard them. You can use the following command lines to know the currently used modifiers and their different properties. We can see that the latest modifier, which affect the socket offsets, has a priority of 123, so we need to set our modifier's priority higher than that, so that it gets executed later. Next, we'll go to our Player Camera Manager, which inherits from the UGC one, and add the new modifier. Okay, so the modifier works, but there is no blending. Let's fix that. After deleting all the code in the modifier, we're now going to add a blend so that the camera offset smoothly interpolates from one side to the other. Here we made a mistake and divided by the total duration instead of the proportional one. We'll fix it in a minute. We also need to make sure the default values are correct. The camera is blending smoothly now, but we made a mistake in the code. If you interrupt the flip midway with another flip, the blend shouldn't take the same amount of time. Now what we can do is add a blend curve so that the interpolation isn't linear. Now that everything works, let's integrate the modifier settings into our camera data assets. That way you can either toggle this behavior or change the blend duration/curve with data assets. First, we'll create a struct for the settings. Then, in the Blueprint Camera data asset base, we'll add the new settings. Later in the video, we rename the struct to be prefixed by F instead of BP. We'll replace the variables in our modifier with the new settings struct. But first, let's fix our naming mistake. In the Child Camera Manager, you want to override the Setup Modifier References function. Make sure to call the parent function as well so as not to break the system, and then we'll add and set reference to our new modifier. Next, you want to override the on-camera data stack changed event and call the parent version here as well. Then we'll propagate any settings changed by the new asset to the modifier. Finally, let's enable the modifier in our default data asset. And voila! Congratulations on creating your first UGC camera modifier. You can see the camera switch sides every time you press C, and it does so smoothly without interfering with your pushed data assets, if you enable it in the asset settings. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please leave us a like and subscribe. If you need help, don't hesitate to drop by the Discord server or send us an email at support@auroradevs.eu. And until next time.